Hi Wanderers.
Welcome to Wanderlost.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Amanda.
And this is Military Chatter.
This is our series where we talk about what life is like in the military.
And this time it's about location, location, location.
Also filmed during the coronavirus still, so no haircut yet for me.
I keep telling her I can help her out.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So, how important is location?
Well, we kind of talked about it last time a little bit, where the location doesn't matter, we don't think, as much as the attitude matters. However, there are a lot of people who have bucket list items and they like to try to get where they want to live. And so we don't really have those, do we?
No, I mean, we're kind of open to wherever, but I think there's also the part that my career in the Air Force is one that where I can go nearly anywhere.
We talked about your AFSC, where that determines what your job is based on your code. What's that stand for?
Air Force Specialty Code.
Okay.
For you Army folks, that would be your MOS, your Military Occupational Specialty.
We talked about that way back a long time ago in a video, but depending on that will determine what base you can go to. Because Ron is a chaplain, they need chaplains everywhere.
Yeah. So pretty much my only limitation comes from the size of a staff and whether or not they need someone of my rank and to a lesser degree of my denomination. So every chaplain in the Air Force, will speak specifically to Christian chaplains. We are endorsed by a religious body. And so for me as United Methodist, we are Protestant infant baby baptizers.
Right, that's all the military cares about you. That you're Protestant and that you baptize babies.
Yes, that is why they like me. But so that could have influence if perhaps there was a place where they needed someone because their entire staff were all adult baptism.
So when we lived in Spain, we were very close to Rota Naval Station, and we found out not long after we were there, well, it could have been about a year in or so, we found out that every chaplain that the Navy had assigned to Rota could not do infant baptisms.
They were all believer baptisms.
Yeah, none of them did infant baptisms. So I just happened to be down there. I have no idea what I was doing, but I happened to be, I was doing some kind of training, a key spouse training thing.
Okay.
And I was down there and there was a chaplain from the naval base that was there and we were talking about it and he was saying, so we can't do infant baptisms right now. And I was like, well, you could call up to Marone.
Sure.
You could get the chaplain from Marone to come down and he could do it.
So that being said, there are some places though that I can't go now because of my rank. There are some places where we'll use, we don't, our inventory for Catholic chaplains is much less than for Protestants. Also, Catholic chaplains are much more specialized. So there are some places where, and Marone is a great example, where the chaplain position is Protestant only. Because they're going to serve that broad Protestant population, and then for Catholics, they hire a local Catholic priest to do part-time because it's a numbers game as far as that goes. And Protestant chaplains generally have much more a broader base that they can serve from a chaplain perspective, because and the terminology we often use is we're chaplain to all, we're pastor to some. But as a chaplain, I can go nearly anywhere. There are places I can't go now. I can't go to Thule because that's
Thule is in Greenland.
I've been there, but not assigned there because that's a captain's position. Same thing. Can't go back to Marone, that sort of thing. So there's some limitations, but not near like for other career fields.
So let's say that you are a pilot and you fly B-1 bombers. I hear them every day flying over my house.
That's the song of freedom.
You only have a couple of options. You can work here or you can work in Texas, at one of the bases in Texas. So that's it. You're not going to get stationed in Maryland to fly your B-1 bombers.
You don't get to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, you get to go to two places and probably back and forth those two places a lot.
Yes.
So what are some other ones that only have a limited
anything that's tied to an airframe is going to have that difficulty. So you think about C-130s. You know, they're Little Rock is a big one that we know of, and there's a few other spots for them. You think about C-5, C-17s, the big transport planes. They're going to be close to the coast. So really anything that's operational tied to an airframe, but linguists as well. So intel sort of things, those can be very tied to locations. I don't want to talk about some of the ones I know, but they can be tied to just a few locations.
Right.
And so depending on your career field, your location can be pretty limited.
Well, and you could stay there your entire career. I know you did a retirement for somebody in Arkansas, and you said she's been here
19 of the 21 years. Now there's a little bit of a difference. So officers, it's a little harder to and that's called homesteading, because as an enlisted airman, you can not just work in your AFSC, but you can do some special duty things. You could be the commandant for the Airman Leadership School. You could be a first sergeant for a while. There's some ways that you can move around within a base, moving jobs and career progression, and never leave the base. That's harder on the officer side of things to be able to do that, although you can sometimes extend an assignment doing that. But if you're talking purely just from your primary career, sometimes that can be very limited, and that's why you'll have people want to do what they call special duty assignments, because it gets you out of that. So we'll use any pilot thing. Assignments happen out of San Antonio. So if you want to get out of the yo-yo of two places because you're a pilot, man, what if I could be the assignments officer? Or what if I could go down and work, those sort of things. So people will seek sometimes for special duties, not just one to break up their own monotony, but also sometimes that's important for career progression, so that you're seeing and doing something different, and maybe getting a larger picture of the Air Force. That's why one of the things we do in the Chaplain Corps, I mean, we can go anywhere, is what we want to avoid is stovepiping people. So that you're in the same major command. So we can look back. We've been in Space Command, USAFE.
They call it MAGCOM, by the way.
Yep, yeah, MAGCOM. Space Command, then to USAFE, then to what was at the time.
I'm gonna have to do USAFE, but that means U.S. Air Force Europe.
And then we went to ISR.
And then we went back to USAFE.
Well, but ISR.
Okay, ISR, hold on, let me try to say it. Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance.
Yes.
And what is hilarious is going to any kind of awards banquet where they have to say those words so many times.
Yes.
And they start stumbling over it because they have to say Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance. Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance.
Yes.
It's pretty hilarious.
Which then became part of Air Combat Command right as we left. And then we went back to USAFE, and now we're in Global Strike.
This is going to be ridiculous. But Global Strike is just Global Strike, so I don't have to, right?
Well, Air Force Global Strike Command, so it's a little longer than that.
No.
But I've been through all of those.
Wait, let's pause to let all of the acronyms catch up to where we are. Okay, go ahead.
So from a chaplain perspective, I'm less useful if I spend my entire career stovepiped in one command.
Right.
Because Global Strike is operational. You've got bombers and you've got missiles. And if I spend my whole career there, and then at the end of my career, now we're going to send you over to Education and Training Command, all I know is this.
Right.
So when you talk about location, one of the things we're also looking at in a career like mine, or generally any of the support career fields. So even you're talking like personnelists, people who work FSS, you want that.
FSS is Force Support Squadron.
Sorry. But you want that broad look, because what's done in this MAGCOM
Major Command
will look different from this one, but you can take lessons learned.
Well, true, and I really like it because I just like to learn things in general, and so every time we go to a new MAGCOM, I feel like I get to know a different part of the Air Force, like a different thing that the Air Force does. And like Space Command was our very first one, and we were right there with NORAD, and we got to hear all about the Santa tracker and everything that they do, and it was just a lot of fun. And then as we've progressed and I've learned more in general about the military, things make more sense to me, and I see how it all kind of fits in together. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, except that I just like to geek out about it. But
there's that location aspect as well.
Well, what I was gonna say,
there's a job.
yeah,
part
if you're coming into the military, or you've got somebody in your family that you know is coming in, they can do some research. Like, you can literally Google what are the major commands, where are those locations, because if you really don't want to, I mean, you're going to have to decide, do you want to be a bomber pilot and potentially only live in 2 places, or would you rather have the option to live in more places and maybe not be a bomber pilot? Like, you're going to have to decide those things.
Yeah.
And so look it up ahead of time. Don't just think that, oh, I'm in the Air Force, I can go anywhere, because definitely that's not what happens.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But again, to go back to our last episode, wherever you end up, you're going to do great things.
Yeah, and you're going to have fun.
Yeah, you're going to have fun if you want to do that. But yeah, definitely, the old Joe, join the Air Force, see the world. And then, how many people in Maryland were from Howard County?
Right.
Were, right there. And they joined and went and did their basic, they did their training, and they came right back to where home was, because that was the job that they ended up with. And they weren't necessarily mad about it, but that was the joke, is, you're from here, huh? Join the Air Force, see the world, huh? Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
Right. So just put some forethought into it. Don't trust. I shouldn't say trust. See, there's my skepticism coming in there. I was going to say, don't trust your recruiter, but that's a horrible thing to say. Don't only depend on the recruiter to give you the information about it.
Yes, because they have a job to do too.
Right. It's a good job, but they're trying to
That
get
is
you
another
in.
special duty, though, that you can go and do that will get you out of whatever your yo-yo is.
Right. If you're tired of those 2 bases you get to go to, you could become a recruiter and get to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this one has been short today, but short videos are good sometimes, especially when you don't have a haircut. So.
Thanks for joining us. We hope that you got some good information out of it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.